Well, hi everybody. As I told you today, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to be working on the flipped classroom. So normally what you do for homework will be classwork tomorrow, and what would normally have been classwork is going to be homework tonight. So right now we're going to be doing a little bit of lecture oriented. You guys are going to have to use your template on your Cornell notes, and you're going to be taking notes on the following lecture, and be prepared to answer the questions at the end of the lecture in class tomorrow. Remember, I gave you these questions before you left today. Okay, so let's look at a quick overview of social Darwinism, what it is. This is a term that scholars use to describe the practice of misapplying, right, using it in error, the biological evolutionary language of Charles Darwin, and taking a biological language, a scientific language, and applying it to politics, economics, and society. Many social Darwinists embrace the laissez-faire capitalism and racism. They believe that government should not interfere in the survival of the fittest by helping the poor, and promoted the idea that some races are biologically superior to others. The ideas of social Darwinism pervaded or were everywhere in many aspects of American society in the Gilded Age, including policies that affected immigration, imperialism, and public health. Now, just to reiterate, Charles Darwin, who wrote On the Origin of Species, one of the most important books of science and history, was offered a new revolutionary scientific theory that the process of evolution through natural selection. In general, what this term means is that plants and animals evolve over time in nature as new species arise from spontaneous mutations at the point of reproduction. Then they battle with other plants and animals to get food, avoid being killed, and have offspring. Darwin pointed to fossil records, among other evidence, in support of his theory. Okay. Social Darwinism, on the other hand, came about in about the late 19th, early 20th centuries, and they took up the language of the scientific evolution of Darwin to frame or make an understanding of the growing gulf between why there was such a gulf between the rich and the poor, as well as many differences between cultures in the world. This gentleman, the photograph of Herbert Spencer, is the gentleman who came up with the idea of social Darwinism. Okay. The explanation they arrived at was that businessmen and others who were economically and socially successful were so because they were biologically and socially, naturally, the fittest. Conversely, they reasoned that the poor were naturally weak and unfit and would be an error to allow the weak of the species to continue to breed. They believed that the dictum survival of the fittest, again, Spencer, not Darwin's term, meant that only the fittest should survive. Social Darwinism and immigration is this pernicious belief that social Darwinism also shaped Americans' relationships with peoples of other nations. As a massive number of immigrants come to the United States during the Second Industrial Revolution, the white Anglo-Saxon Americans viewed these newcomers, again, coming here for a better life, jobs. They were different in that they less likely to speak English, more likely to be Catholic or Jewish rather than Protestant Christians, and they viewed them with disdain. Many whites believed that these new immigrants, who hailed mostly from Eastern or Southern Europe, were racially inferior and consequently less evolved than immigrants from England, Ireland, or Germany. Similarly, social Darwinism was used as a justification for American imperialism in Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines following the Spanish-American War, as many adherents or followers of imperialism argued that it was the duty of white Americans to bring civilization to backwards peoples. And if we take a close look here at the political cartoon by Puck, shows Uncle Sam lecturing a group of childlike caricatures depicting the people of Hawaii, Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines. Okay? And as you can see, the more advanced students of Texas, Alaska, and California are in the back of the classroom, while the African-American student, as you see in the background, is forced to clean windows. The Native American student is confined in the corner over there reading his book, and the Chinese student is stopped at the door. And you can also see that the features of the American students are much more defined and what you want to say normal looking than the non-American students, who are much more like caricatures of children. Okay. All right. Okay, what do you think? And again, you were given these earlier, so make sure you incorporate these ideas into your Cornell notes for tomorrow. And we'll go over and review them, and you'll do those in peer editing. Okay? Also, while you're doing that, would you get out the focus areas I gave you earlier? We're going to, again, these are the areas while you're watching the video from the Khan Academy on the Gilded Age. Keep this in mind, and we're going to have a class discussion on these tomorrow. Okay, so while you're looking and making sure you have those out so you can refer to them during the video, I'll switch over here. And again, this is the Gilded Age by the Khan Academy.
Hello, David. Hello, Kim. So I brought you here to talk about the Gilded Age, which is one of my favorite eras of American history. Because everything was great and covered in gold? No, because it's the only era of American history I can think of that has a sarcastic theme. So what's to be sarcastic about? What's happening between? So I see it's from 1865 to 1898, which is the end of the Civil War. And then what happens in 1898? Well, it's basically everyone woke up one morning and they were like, "Oh, we're done with the Gilded Age. Now it's time for the Progressive Era." Hooray! Spanish American War times. War first, the Spanish American War. So the Gilded Age is kind of this period of really intense industrialization, kind of focusing on America's development as an industrial and business power. It's very inward looking, whereas after the Spanish American War, the United States takes a bigger role on the world stage. The sarcastic part of the Gilded Age is that this was a term coined by Mark Twain, of all people, in 1890. And he wrote a book called The Gilded Age. And what Twain was trying to say was that the United States in this period wasn't experiencing a golden age, right? An era of prosperity and happiness, but rather a Gilded Age. Oh, so just like a thin layer of gold on top, disguising the cheap tin beneath. Exactly. Oh, snap! Yeah. So what's going on in this era that earned this nickname? Like, what is the appearance of fancy, lovely gold that just turns out to be tacky? Well, I think what people are talking about under the title of Gilded Age is that this time when immense wealth is accumulated by a number of individuals, many of whom still have their names on things today, like Andrew Carnegie, Carnegie Mellon University, or Carnegie Hall, J.P. Morgan, who was a banking magnate, still have J.P. Morgan as a financial institution today. And I would say John D. Rockefeller was another. He was the founder of Standard Oil, so he was an oil baron, Rockefeller Center, right? So these are the individuals who got enormously wealthy in the Gilded Age, and they got wealthy by being the captains of these new expanding industries. So titans of industry. The titans of industry, so steel and banking and oil. But they got rich partly through political corruption. So one of the less than savory parts of the Gilded Age is that a lot of this was done through political kickbacks, bribing of officials, bribing the vice president of the United States. Wait, whoa, what? Bribe the vice president? That was a scandal that dogged the presidency of Ulysses S. Grant. Crédit Immobilier was a construction company that had less than savory ties to some people very high up in government. So these fortunes of people like Carnegie and Morgan were built partly on political corruption and partly on the backs of waves of immigrant laborers. Like my ancestors. Like my ancestors. And so, during this time period in the eastern part of Europe, the southern part of Europe, there were political eruptions, there were just general poverty, especially in Italy. And in Russia, there were a number of pogroms, which sent Russian Jews out of Russia, and they came to the United States. And, they came from very bad situations, so what they came to was a little bit better, but it wasn't much better. Which is how they all ended up living in this one apartment in Lower Manhattan, as you've detailed in this, what is this, a Jacob Riis photo? Right, okay, so Jacob Riis was a photographer in the 1890s, and he went around the Lower East Side of Manhattan, basically just photographing what he called how the other half lives. And by the other half, he meant immigrants, the poor, who were living in the Lower East Side of Manhattan, which at that
Okay, guys, that's the end of the video. And again, remember, tomorrow be prepared to connect social Darwinism from your Cornell notes with the events, policies, and social mores of the Gilded Age, like immigration, political bosses, and imperialism. And hopefully that gave context to part 2 of the video. And then tomorrow we're going to take the focus areas and have a class discussion on those. You guys have the rest of your night. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow.